What's going on, fragrance family? Welcome to another episode of Taking a Test Drive. This series is where I wear a scent on my skin as my scent of the day for several days, including today from my own personal collection. And it's time to give you my thoughts before it goes into the vault for a full-fledged review. Today's test drive is on the house of Givenchy. I haven't really spoken about this brand in a while. And this one called Givenchy Gentleman EDP. And this is a line I don't even know if I talked about on my channel. Well, we're going to start here, and this is a good one to start. Now, before we get into the meat and potatoes, I'd like to thank our sponsor of the day, FragranceX.com. I want to take the time to thank them, and you can get a bottle of this on their site. Check out FragranceX. Support me by utilizing a coupon code, which is my channel name, Robes08, and get 15% off on your purchase. It doesn't need to be this, it's any type of purchase. Now let's go under the hood for this one. Release date was back in 2018. We have two great noses attached to this one, Nathalie Lorson, Olivier Cresp, all-star perfumiers all around. So we got some good noses attached to this one. Major notes to my nose. Within my several days of testing this one, of course, all the reviews are talking about the iris. Iris this, iris that, iris, 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 iris. DHI replacement, Womo Intense replacement. Yeah, well, the iris in here is very good. But let's talk about the nuts and bolts of this fragrance. Let's forget about just the iris. Vanilla is a major player in this one from the get-go, and the Tolu Balsam, which is, I would say, the forgotten note in this release. Let's get into it. Like I said earlier, this is my scent of the day, so I am wearing it, but I want to remind myself of this introduction. Great atomizer on this bottle. Let's sniff out Gentleman EDP. And oh, that introduction from start to finish, this thing is polished. I think that's a great word to utilize for this one, polished. Its complexity is there. There's some warmth here. It's just masterly blended by Lorson and Cresp. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the buttery iris. It's matched with a vanillic accord, but the underrated star of the show is the Tolu Balsam in this one. That is what gives it its edge. Many dub this as an iris-based scent, but it does share the spotlight with those two other notes throughout. They don't go away. There's a slight peppery touch here that gives some warmth, but loses its edge quite quickly. So you're gonna lose that peppery edge right off the bat. As much as I'd like to speak about the orris root, the iris, of course, which is fantastic in this scent, but the Tolu Balsam gives its familiar, herbaceous, hay-like, cinnamon warmth. It also gives a floral vanillic touch, and I feel this is the star of the show, honestly, and it separates it from all the other iris-based fragrances in the designer realm. The scent also has an almond-like quality, think tonka bean. The opening is so smooth, it's upscale, and there's only a handful of designer scents that can give me that feeling that this one does, as the upscale feeling that I feel. The vanillic sweetness is a big part of the opening too. There's a slightly powdery and waxy quality where you come to expect here from the iris. There's a clean lavender note that runs through this fragrance, which is something that is also forgotten in fragrance reviews. This lavender note, beautiful. And it goes with this imagery so well. A lavender note goes well with iris, and it goes well with, of course, Tolu Balsam and vanilla, obviously, of Le Male fame. So that note runs through, hardly mentioned in reviews, but really great lavender note here. There's some balsamic qualities, which can turn some people off in the opening of this fragrance, but I really enjoyed that extra take. That balsamic quality gives it some edge. I think it would be like a rather boring release if it didn't have a little bit of edge to it. Now let's get into the dry down of Givenchy Gentleman EDP. The dry down goes a little darker from the opening. You start smelling more of that ambery, resinous quality, which isn't too dark, but works well with that opening. The sweetness of the vanillic quality turns down a notch. The peppery kick, long gone in this backbone. There's a slight earthiness from the patchouli here. You still get that waxy quality from the iris, and you get a slight nuttiness too, almond-like. I hate comparing this to DHI because it does. It's a comparable, yes, but I would highly recommend this one to fans that love Dior Homme Intense, Dior Homme. Prada L'Homme, you know, those high class releases, you'll find the same type of balance and smoothness in this one, and dare I say elegance to those designer releases. Those designer releases do have some elegance to them. You'll find it here with those other releases. However, it could be redundant if you own those, but the fans of the Prada L'Hommes and the DH series would really like this one. It's a great addition, and I feel personally, I don't think it's a redundant release versus those, but if you have a small collection, I can see why. A great release from top to bottom. Now let's look into Seasons, day, night versatility and performance. Let's start it off with Seasons. This type of fragrance is a tweener. I love it in the fall. I love it in the spring, especially spring nights. I think that's where it would work really well, just because of that buttery iris would work. It works so well. Any floral really works well in the spring, but this one's spring nights, even winter, because it does have a little bit of edge to it. I know some iris fragrances, they're too clean that they get lost in the translation in winter, especially these Canadian winters. I don't see any issues depending on where you live. Day or night, again, versatility is there. It's either or. I see this as a signature scent maybe in cooler climates, but mostly a nighttime scent, of course. Versatility, I would have to say above average. I can wear this one casually, no issues there, but I can dress it up, and I mean really up, like tuxedo up, not just suit, tuxedo up. Performance. The performance on this one was okay. You know, Givenchy is a brand that I classified more as a third tier designer brand because it does have some performance issues. There's some quality issues too. They should be a second tier brand, and this kind of release kind of puts them in almost that second tier designer brands. Now longevity, 7 to 9 hours, no problem there. For me, that's good. Could I get more? Yeah, I'd love to get a little bit more. Projection was below average for me. That's an issue. This kind of scent, I know it stays close to the skin a little bit more, which is okay. Like, it's not something that I'm gonna, you know, knock it down a couple notches, because you need those kind of close quarter type of scents. And this is one of those. You know, you're wearing a tux, you're in a church or something like that. It's not gonna offend. It's great. People that get close to you are gonna smell you, but not people five rows away. So this is the type of scent that I see will work well in that type of situation. So my final thoughts on this one before it goes into the vault for more testing. It needs more testing. I think I could get more. I could squeeze some more out of this as a review. But Givenchy Gentleman EDP is a rare designer scent that I'd wear with a tux. And I don't say that lightly, because I can't even think of 10 designer fragrances I could wear with a tux. And no, that's not a video idea for influencers. Great, I just started something. This fragrance to me elevates the brand of Givenchy. This release, before this, of course, you got Givenchy Pie, and you had the Gentleman Only line. They're okay. Well, Givenchy Pie is on its own, but they were really just an okay brand. This really brings them up. Can they do more of this? This is where it's a solid contender as one of the better men's fragrance lines. Maybe, especially in the modern times, I'm seeing this, it could be. They keep releasing this kind of quality, I could see that. I always thought of them as a third tier designer brand, but I would start moving them into that second tier if they keep releasing this kind of scent. So Givenchy Gentleman EDP is a very, and I mean very solid designer release. I absolutely love this one. From top to bottom, I enjoyed testing this one. The Orris Root, the Vanilla, the Tolu Blossom. Of course, that triple threat was absolutely blended masterfully. You can dress this one up, you can dress this one down. It's a grown-up, solid designer release. Like, it's worth retail pricing. Personally, it can be a signature scent. It's a stunner of a scent that I can't wait to delve more into it. And this excites me for all those other flankers that they released of this brand. And I do own a few. I got on box actually a couple here. So I'm looking forward to it, because this one was so solid. So now I'm done with this one. You're gonna have to wait until I do a full-fledged review on this one, but I think I gave it justice. This is an excellent scent, but it's time for you to hit us up in the comments below. What do you think about this one? Looking forward to reading your comments and what you think about this brand. In this line, I think this is a solid release. At the end of the day, a great or poor fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scent wisely.